Greetings, Lighthead here, and today we visit a popular, clip-heavy topic, and one which is close to my heart, albeit for all the wrong reasons. As a youngster, I was extremely fortunate in that I had the great privilege of training with one of the best martial artists in the world. No joke, I genuinely did spend years training under his expert and unbending tutelage, and I learned many, many things about the art of hand-to-hand combat. So as one might imagine, to go on to see so very many examples of outright frauds in the martial community touched me in a special place. An angry place! And having witnessed such comical, yet insidious, lunacy, I have decided to add my own tuppence to the ever-popular narrative of Bullshido. And an extra special thanks goes to Mark Mugen and pals for providing a wealth of hilarity on today's video, which I'm shamelessly borrowing. Now, while my costume disguises me almost completely, as it is designed to do, because I do love my anonymity, I assure you I'm not a fat beneath this Zentai suit. I enjoy regular calisthenics and do not attempt to eat myself to death at every sitting. You would be forgiven, therefore, for believing that food is an integral part of the martial culture, were you to have only ever witnessed beached whales such as this. Look at those bellies rolling around, like they're attempting to escape their owners to go start their own fake martial schools. Sumo obviously requires a certain amount of mass to effectively engage in, and that is their way, for which I have much respect. But, for the most part, should you witness a chubby-wubby lolloping around the place with their obviously ineffectual grunting and groaning, then be it your own fault if you fail to recognize that they are of the fraudulent variety. But it's not just that the comically unfit enjoy posing as pugilists. Oh no, the roots of this cancer go far, far deeper and have done untold damage over the years. Case in point. If you're an impressionable young person living in an impoverished part of the world, and one day some bold-faced cad wanders up to you and says, "Care to learn the secrets of the martial arts? But you have to give me whatever you've got to do so," then there's a pretty reasonable chance you're going to say yes, as opposed to sitting around in the dust all day. And so untold millions of young men and women have, over the course of history, followed these liars, believing wholly that they are some sort of martial arts master. When you've never had the chance to attend a school or have access to the internet or whatever your dire situation, then things which are generally presented to you will appear to be real. And it's exactly this notion that these lying scumbags have been using to poach every single little bitty penny they can from their good-willed yet ignorant students. And many of these bumbling deceivers more closely resemble cults than martial schools. It takes a special kind of idiots to spend their life pretending for some insane old man that he does indeed possess telekinetic powers. How does one look at themselves in the mirror knowing that their entire existence is but to prop up the deluded ego of a complete and utter cretin while pretending to be constantly struck by violent, magic-induced seizures? What gall to take a wonderful tradition such as the martial arts, conceived by the Indian monk Bodhidharma to enlighten and strengthen and bring people together, and to take a big, diuretic dump on it. It takes a special kind of immoral pig to deliberately tread upon such a concept, and believe me, there is no shortage of them. Fortunately, however, heroes have always existed in fighting circles, and there are, in fact, heroes out there today, working against obscenely outweighed odds to bring down these egotistical little institutions and shed the brutal, fisty light of truth upon these cultist weirdos. I speak, of course, of Zhu Xiaodong.
的狂人动画从电视李刚比赛开始了，完了，到底有不能击打，到底不能击打，看，因为这次比赛里面，狂人动画真正的发挥起了他的全的力量的优势，不给典狱师，不给咏春李刚任何的还手的机会和时间，我就打近战。 我用我的力量狂轰我乱炸。
That's right.
Shudong does a kick and then a jab. That's all?
Legend. Absolute star, that one, and I love him for it. It's not just the comic ease with which he beats his many, many opponents.
MMA 现在职业拳手在中国也就不超过100来人吧，很少，很苦。MMA 训练很苦，再加上比赛又少，挣不着几个钱，而且 MMA 每一次比赛真的你肯定要全身负很多的伤。
在赛前说，我在今天比赛里面，我要用一种
中国这个 MMA 的发展，它必须要是跟世界结合。 跟世界结合，我负责的说，现在中国这个 MMA 的运动员，你根本不用学习任何的中国的传统武术，没有意义。
Is that he refuses to stand down.
Never surrender.
And he doesn't just go out into the world to challenge hacks. He welcomes challenges from any that should darken his door.
不能上来，看着给你们面子了，让你们挂旗子了，还想怎么着？不服上来，我这一堆兄弟呢，上来，我恨着呢，我对你们已经够客气的了。 不服上来打来，来啊！谁？还有谁？说！来，咱们群殴！来啊！来啊！打不了了。
And yes, he does indeed routinely kick their posteriors. But the power-grubbing hacks hiding behind the scenes have made life extremely hard on Zhu in recent years.
He is only allowed to fight when he has clown makeup on his face. He had been very frustrated by watching people getting scammed by the traditional martial arts, but the Chinese government considered it non-patriotic and banned him from all social media platforms, but this couldn't break him and he still does the same.
What cowards to intentionally hold up such rotten, corrupt, and thieving so-called schools merely to keep safe the dens they've built for themselves. Dens built upon the backs of decent people.
Get off my back!
We need more like Zhu, getting out there and showing the world that these arcane, magical, fanciful farces are exactly that. I'd bankroll you if I could, Zhu, but unfortunately, being rather new at this YouTube lark, I'm not exactly rolling in the money. Maybe one day, Zhu. Maybe one day. But don't be fooled into believing that this fraud only occurs in Southeast Asia. No, no, no. It's happening all over the place.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Notice anything about these comical yet simultaneously sad clips? When a liar has a single brain cell more than the innocent people surrounding them, it's all too easy for them to declare, "I'm a martial arts expert, master, Sifu, sensei, rock star." And just like that, they've created a little coven for themselves, in which they sit at the top of the pile while everyone else gets crapped on. And it has to be said, the way these people go about attempting to convince the world of their would-be skills seems to just get weirder and weirder.
Right.
It's so ridiculous!
It certainly is. And as though this weren't enough, it's not just happening in the third world. It's also happening in the first.
We're going to share with you today some ideas that can assist you in the event that you get shot. Push the barrel up, back towards the aggressor, and you can actually use his finger to control them if you wanted to, or just strip the weapon from them. Because the only thing worse than getting shot is getting shot again.
Tap. Here. Whoa! You're getting back.
It didn't work.
Dillman thinks he knows what went wrong and has come up with a very interesting explanation.
The skeptic was a totally non-believer. Plus, I don't know if I should say that on film, but if the guy had his tongue in the wrong position of the mouth, that can also nullify it.
Grab the back of your head with both of your hands. Good, and you're just going to sink right on down.
Whoa, I just go with it, lift. Even if he's got a hold of my sleeve, then I'll just tuck this hand here. I'm gonna swing this up. So do this, imagine a couple of ski poles.
The weight of the gun helps the Shuto work a lot better.
It seems any idiot with a smartphone has the opportunity to pose as a martial whatever these days. Case in point. I mean, really, what are you expecting we're going to do? Frantically search for your details, jump on a plane, and throw ourselves at your feet, begging, "Please, master, train me. I'll clean your house for you and everything." Then you have the flowery fools who actually believe their own foes in gibberish.
You don't feel my power. You feel my compassion.
How is it that the students of these drug-addled looking airheads keep showing up to these nonsensical classes? And some of these people actually seem to have some serious bankroll behind them. If your students consist of wealthy Californian punks a la the Karate Kid snot-nosed bullies, then it seems you've positioned yourself to rake it in. Deary me, what a circus. While we in the West have learned, for the most part, to approach life with a certain healthy measure of skepticism, there will always be gullible people who are all too ready to accept whatever nonsense is leveled at them by a man with a loud enough mouth and big enough muscles.
Because you'll believe anything.
And there are a lot of them.
A 300-pound, 2-meter-tall bodybuilder challenged a jiu-jitsu athlete half his size. Let's just say it was an eye-opening experience for him.
Even leader of clowns, Bradley Martin, a mere podcaster with no martial background and an unhealthy penchant for arrogantly repeating his weight with that dull grin upon his smarmy face.
Damn, I'm 260, bro.
Social media influencer Bradley Martin, who's known for being 260 pounds and saying that he can beat every single person in a street fight, recently got humbled big time by a security guard.
Beat me in a street fight?
You in a street fight?
Yeah.
You're a podcaster, brother.
Well, I know you're 260, Brad, but this 260 right here ain't really helping you right now. I know it wasn't a street fight, but what do you guys think? If it would be a street fight, would Brad win because...
Okay.
Who would win in a street fight, you or Bradley Martin?
Who the f*** is Bradley Martin?
Believes himself to be some sort of unstoppable force, purely because he lifts weights. Nice try, Bradley, but I'd sooner address why you feel the need to boast about something you can't do in the first place.
I hadn't thought of that.
Muscles don't equal fighting skill, fellas, no matter what your ridiculous and cringeworthy posing suggests. And you know what my main man Joey Swell would say to that?
You need to do better.
Hit us with the truth, Joey. Ultimately, I would advise that if you're going to embark upon a journey into the martial arts and have absolutely no idea what you're doing, then be sure to employ your common sense first. Do some research. Ask yourself if something like Tai Chi is as effective in real-world combat as, say, boxing. And then when you discover it isn't, find yourself a reputable boxing gym or whatever else it is you may fancy. The martial arts, in all its wonderful complexity and varied forms, is to be respected and practiced diligently. Because if you're going to get into something, whether it be martial arts, croquet, fly fishing, or whatever else, then it only makes sense to do that something right. Otherwise, why even bother in the first place?
Subscribe.